My name is Merrilee Frey, and I'm the Lake County Coroner. I've been a registered nurse for the past 30 years. I investigate all deaths that are related to homicides, suicide, and accidents. We currently have an epidemic in the United States. Our CDC has labeled that we are in a current heroin epidemic. All across the country, we have very high, significant numbers of young people that have lost their lives due to our heroin epidemic. Indiana is one state that has been significantly affected, but particularly here in Lake County. And in Lake County, it's all across the county, from South County of Lowell all the way up to North County, of all ages and races, as well as male, female, sex. Nobody is left unaffected. At this time, I've investigated over 300 drug overdose related deaths, over 180 of them related to heroin. I have investigated all heroin-related deaths here in Lake County. I personally take every death call, all hours of the night, 24/7. Recently, I investigated a death of a young lady whose body we located in Gary. She was dumped in the alley, and my chief and I had went to the home and spoke with her grandparents and informed them that in fact we had found their daughter, and their daughter had lost their life to, unfortunately, our heroin epidemic. My nursing background has taught me an important part of nursing is prevention and education, and since I've been in the office as Lake County Coroner, I have made it an important part of my daily work. Our sincere hope is that we get the message out to our community that heroin kills.
I'm Yvette Manfredi, and I'm an investigator with the Lake County Coroner's Office. We had a female that was just released from jail. She was there over the beginning of the year, not this year, but in the past. And she was there from maybe February to, I would say, July. And she got out, and her mom brought her home to live in her house that they were selling, and she set her up with everything. And her mom went to check on her the next morning, and she found her unresponsive and passed away in the living room. The mom was the caregiver of the child, of the daughter, and she had been through different channels of trying to get her help and different rehab centers, and she'd been incarcerated a couple of times, and this time she said she had changed because she wanted to get her daughter back from her mother. And she got out of jail. She called the same people that she used to hang around with before and went right back to what she used to do in the past and ended up dying from it.
My name is Scott Sefton. I'm currently the Chief Deputy for the Lake County Coroner's Office. Been here almost 3 years now. I've investigated 18 of drug overdose cases, and out of those, 6 were heroin related. I'm involved in most of the deaths. They'll call the coroner, and then they'll also call me and explain what's going on, what kind of deaths we have. And a lot of times the coroner or I will go out on the scene to just talk with the parents out there if they're there, or families, get a better idea of what's going on in the scene. I've seen people who are 18 all the way up to people who are 60, and everything from African American, Hispanic, and Caucasian. In 2014, the coroner and I were on a case. We went down to Gary on Jackson Street, where this young lady was found dumped into the alleyway, and it just really took my breath away, because here you have a young lady who has everything going for her, and she's just dumped like a piece of garbage.
My name is John Budsich. I'm the Lake County, Indiana Sheriff. I'm serving my 4th term as Lake County Sheriff, but I've overall been in law enforcement now for 42 years. Heroin is the drug of choice now, especially, which is even more alarming, it's for the young adults that are doing this, 18 to 25 years of age, young men and women. And it's not only the inner city, within the inner cities, it's the middle class and upper middle class young men and women that are doing this. And they know there's a danger with drug abuse, and they go for that high. We're finding that they graduate from whether it be marijuana or prescription drugs, and they want that extra high and everything. But they don't understand exactly what they're taking, what they're purchasing, what they're using. It may be too pure that it could kill you right away. It's a lot of this we're finding now. The heroin is laced with a lot of other toxic drugs, and the combination is deadly. And that's why this problem has to be addressed by society. Society, the state, local, everybody, the federal government, we've got to take notice and take notice fast that this is a growing problem that we're going to have to address. Our young men and women are just dying, and there has to be, again, not only the law enforcement aspect of it, but there has to be the intervention and prevention programs that are going to have to increase. Mental health facilities, drug treatment houses, that sort of thing. Take a look at what's happening. Probably some of them know somebody that died as a result, or was hospitalized, or is incarcerated as a result of heroin abuse. Take a hard look at that. And then once it's proven that once you start on it, coming back, you're not going to be able to come back. Your addiction is going to be lifelong. And take a look, think about your family, because when not only those individuals that are that are drug addicted, heroin abusers, the family suffers.
Dr. John Fesco. I'm a pathologist for the last 20 years here in Lake County. An autopsy is examining the body after someone has expired. Typically, all deaths go through the coroner system here at Lake County. They're investigated, and it's determined by the coroner and all their deputy coroners on whether or not to investigate further and bring that body back here to Lake County Coroner's Office. I've seen a lot of heroin overdoses with not only respiratory distress, but seizure disorders, convulsions. It definitely decreases your breathing rate, so you and I normally breathe at 20 times a minute. With a heroin overdose, that will slow down all the way down to where they cease to zero. You basically just become, it's called respiratory distress, asphyxia, you can't breathe anymore. The problem and the scary thing with heroin, whether or not you snort it, whether or not you inject it, is the impurities and how pure the substance is coming from South America, Mexico. It has gotten to the point where a first-time user will not be used to that. Their body is not tolerant to that, and it can easily cause death.
Nick is my son. He's my firstborn, and I lost him March 6th to a heroin overdose. 2 years is the length of time that I knew he had been using heroin. Maybe a little longer in secrecy. He was down at IU-PUI, and I found out he was using down there while he was in college. So 2 years is the length of time I knew about it, but probably a little longer that he was doing it before I found out.
He knew the dangers of drugs. We've talked about it since he was a young boy. I preached always about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. Never in a million years would I have ever suspected my son. When I found out that he was using heroin, I fell to my knees and said that there's no way. I can't believe that my son is doing this. Well, he was honest with me to a fault, because we had many discussions about what led him to use heroin, and he told me simply, I just wanted to try it, Mom. I just wanted to try it. I was in Arizona and got a call from one of the kids he was with when he was doing heroin down there, called me to tell me that he had overdosed and that he was at the coroner's. Not my son, not in a million years. My son was smart. He knew the dangers of drugs. He had been taught his whole life the dangers of drugs. Never in a million years. So if it could happen to my son, it could happen to anybody's son. So there's a problem with people not talking about it. We need to talk about it. We need to get it out in the open so that we can help one another and bring light to the epidemic that is surrounding us.
My name is David Pazanka. My daughter was Jennifer Pazanka. Jennifer died just a month short of her 31st birthday. She was kind and loving. Was in a situation where she had had a child, and when she got pregnant, the young guy was going to marry her, and what happened was they started doing drugs together, and he was able to get out of the situation, and she was not. She didn't have the strength to get away from what she was getting involved in. The desire to have this drug, to have drugs to take away her pain and her problems just never ended. We did not realize it was heroin for a while. We didn't realize that. Since we were not drug users ourselves, we didn't realize what was going on. We saw the way she acted was different. She said you would get a hit on the street for $20. for a day. And that's how these addicts live, by the day. When we had to bury her, you were just in shock. You didn't realize. After she passed away at home, I did not actually cry for 3 or 4 days. But after that, I cried for almost a week, because I really realized what happened, because I was just caught up in everything that happened. And the pain doesn't go away. I still think about her and I still cry. I still miss her.
My name is Gil Gutierrez. I'm with the Lake County Coroner's Office. I've been here for 7 years and I investigated 27 overdoses.
My name is Angie Inez. I've been with the Lake County Coroner's Office for 9 years and I've investigated 22 overdose deaths.
I'm Doug McCluskey. I've been with the Coroner's Office for 3 months and I've investigated 3 drug overdose deaths during that time.
I'm Scott Sefton. I'm the Chief Deputy for the Lake County Coroner's Office. I've been here approximately 3 years. I've investigated 18 overdose cases.
My name is Sharday Starr. I've been with the Lake County Coroner's Office for 1 year, and I have investigated 1 drug overdose.
I'm Yvette Manfredi, and I've been with the Lake County Coroner's Office as an investigator for 8 years. I've investigated 21 drug-related overdose cases.
My name is Hugo Brajas. I've been with the Lake County Coroner's Office for about 2 years. I investigated about 5 overdose deaths, 1 being from heroin.
My name is Dan Cervello. I'm with the Lake County Coroner's Office. I've been here for 4 years. During that time, I've investigated 22 drug overdose cases, 11 of which have been heroin related.
I'm Stephanie Sager. I'm with the Lake County Coroner's Office. I've been with the office for 2 years. I've investigated 17 overdose deaths, 6 which were heroin.
I'm Lake County Coroner Merrilee Frey. I have investigated over 300 drug-related deaths, 180 of those being heroin-related since 2012. If I had one thing to say to individuals, especially our youth, that would consider using heroin or using substances, is to think very long and clearly about what they're about to do, that they're going to severely hurt those that they love the most, their family,